Hello everyone, welcome to the first alpha episode of RWA Chats. I am Gini, short for Shivangini, your host for today. We'll wait for 2 more minutes to let everyone join in, and in the meanwhile, I'll take you through the flow of today's episode. As we all know, eMoney Network is world's first MiCA compliant RWA blockchain, and we have launched this series to discuss RWA and its growth. In today's episode, we've invited MD of eMoney Network, Parag Arora, and some of our grant applicants to discuss the innovative solutions in the RWA space. Thank you everyone for joining and applying for a grant program. We are very glad to receive such amazing applications. We are going through it and we'll get back to all of you soon who have applied. Okay, now all our speakers are here, so let's begin with our first episode. Please note that in the end, we'll open the floor for our listeners to ask a few questions to our speakers. Perfect. Okay. So the first question is to all our speakers. It would be great if you could introduce yourself and the project you're from. So let's begin with Parag.
Hey everyone, good evening, good morning, wherever you are joining from. Myself, Parag. I am MD at eMoney.network, and here we'll be representing eMoney. If you have any questions regarding, our blockchain, our wallet, what we are doing, as well as the grant program, please go ahead and ask. Thank you, Guinea.
Thank you, Parag. Next, Nicholas.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect. I'm Nicolas, a CTO at Elevex. At Elevex, what we're building is a decentralized exchange for real estate projects and markets, and I'm glad to be here. Thank you for the invitation, and looking forward to the conversation.
Thank you. Appreciate you joining. Next, Erdem from Remedi.
Hey all, I'm so glad to join this conversation. This is Erdem. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Remedi. Remedi is an embedded finance platform for healthcare, helping medical practices, clinics, hospitals tailor and offer buy now, pay later services directly to their patients. And I'm a fintech veteran with more than 20 years of experience. In this project, I'm merging the best parts of embedded finance and on-chain finance. Happy to join, guys.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Token Tales, Zygis, if I'm pronouncing it right. I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
you can call me Žygis.
Zygis.
I'm
Okay.
a technical founder of Token Tales, and we have a noble mission to save cats in the shelter by building our play to save game. We already launched our Telegram game. It's live, so feel free to take a look and play it. Thanks.
Perfect. Thank you. And Lingraj. Yes.
Thank you, Zeni. Hello to all of you. My name is Lingraj Mahanand, and I'm the founder of the company Credore. I'm a techie and worked for a decade for the investment banks, and where I have developed the systems related to cross-border trade finance. And at Credore, what exactly we are doing is we have developed a reliable tech system that adheres to a specific guideline provided by United Nations. That guideline is known as UNCITRAL MLATR, Model Law on Electronic Transferable Record. And the platform actually streamlines the trade documentation process for the banks, shipping lines, exporters, or any stakeholder that is involved in the cross-border trade. And it reduces the paperwork, speed up the transactions, and the kind of benefits the exporter would get from this ecosystem is that they can have the advanced payment options, while the banks and non-banking financial institutions can enhance the liquidity and and provide efficiency through financing. Thank you.
That sounds very interesting. Thank you so much, Lingraj.
Thank you.
Okay. So the first question to Parag and Nicholas, what motivated your involvement in the RWA, which is real world assets space? If you could, highlight some of the motivational factors for you. Let's start with Nicholas.
Yeah, sure. So I'll start a little bit about our founding team and how we got involved in the space. At Elevex, we're three primary founders. Two of us have been in the crypto space since 2016, 2017, primarily focused on software development, so developing DeFi applications, gaming applications, and so forth. And then the other founder is a long-term friend who has his master's in architecture and has done a lot of construction and real estate focused projects. And myself, I've always been interested in the real estate space. I've always seen how tokenization could benefit real estate and trading and exchange real estate assets. So when one of the founders came to us and said that he wanted to work on a tokenization project, it made perfect sense to us. And we all believe that the future of RWA, specifically for us real estate, is one that is on chain, that is liquid, and that can be easily tradable in a decentralized format. So that's what we set out to do.
That's
Amazing,
super
amazing.
interesting.
From my side, I have been in the space from I think 9 years now, and I have been in tech from last 18 years. I have seen all the cycles, starting from I think like one of the first 100 Android games. I was one of the one of the builder of that. I've seen the whole AI wave going from dial-up flow to finally Chat GPT. And when we entered in the blockchain, we started seeing the new narrative of currency forming on. And then, of course, when the Ethereum was launched, it was clear that it is going to become like an infrastructure play for for the whole world, actually, for every industry to participate. And that is what has always excited me as a person, building infrastructure and always looking 3 years ahead. What is the next infrastructure to be built? So we have seen all the waves, coming from NFTs, and then DeFi happened. And when we started seeing like that, the whole these all infrastructure layers are done, then we start saying that the early adopter curve has been almost done, right? So blockchain early adopter curve was done that time. And you know that you are going to go to the mass market, and there is a big gap which comes before that laggards came, which is what the rest of the world is. This is, the theory of whatever, any disruptive technology, you have early adopters, then there's a gap, which is, kind of a trough, and then the laggards came. The gap actually is the RWA, because at the end of the day, when you start looking at, blockchain, which has been very, very separate from rest of the world, where, there are a lot of digital assets which have been transacting. Of course, we have seen some of the stories where digital arts were also done, but they were always sort of in a virtual way, right? So now with RWA, the narrative is when you are bringing all the real world assets, which is actually rest of the world, if you think like it, because rest of the world, the whole finance is governed with the compliances and the legalities. And of course, we don't say it has to exist or it doesn't have to exist, but there's a lot of depth, and hundreds of years gone behind the building the whole theory, like what should be the governance infrastructure, what should be the financial regulation, and world has learned a lot. And then with the RWA narrative, you are bridging the gap now, bridging the gap between the currency and the stable coin, so as to say. And that is what, of course, at eMoney we are doing. We are, I think, doing one of the most seamless bridging of the gap ever by building our own chain and the wallet. And the rest is, because you have a chain, the rest of all the real world assets can now, come and participate on the chain. So the excitement behind the RWA, and specifically with eMoney, has been building that infrastructure which finally fills the gap and bring everyone in the world to come and participate in this awesome future for all of us, because now we are mainstream. We are not like the rest of the like we are not like there is rest of the world and crypto world, or there is something different which no one else knows. We are becoming mainstream now. And this is the excitement. I mean, the next couple of years is going to be remarkable in terms of what is to happen. And that whole thing is going to happen only with RWA narrative. Yeah.
Totally makes sense. We've come a long way, and there's undoubtedly a very long way to go, and the RWA space is getting very, very exciting. So thank you so much. Okay, now the next question is to Erdem. Uh, Now with the motivation comes the challenges as well. So what are the major challenges that you have encountered, while working with the RWA space or with the tokenization of RWA?
My answer will be really short and straightforward. It's the regulatory challenges for us. Honestly, I don't fear the regulators. I don't fear being obliged to get regulatory licenses. Bring it on. I had been there and done that in the past. I got an FX broker license in the past. I established a fund in Luxembourg. Never ask about it. And my co-founder obtained the first e-money license in TR. So we can do that. But I had never been so lost within the uncertainty as today. So the regulators should come to their sane minds. With all that experience I have, I'm struggling opening a bank account in the UK. Okay, we did it, but it's a struggle. So my answer is definitely compliance and regulatory challenges, guys.
I totally agree. Yeah, that is one of the major challenges that all of us are trying to solve, which is why also we are going, we are like the first regulators of
Exactly.
blockchain. So yes.
Other builders are crying silently listening to this.
Which is why, there's always partnership and collaboration in this space. So, okay, that's great. Thank you so much for the to the point answer. Okay, the next question to Lingraj and Zygis. What are some of the most exciting use cases for RWA tokenization that you see either existing today or, emerging in the future?
Okay, shall I go ahead or Jaggers?
Sure, please go ahead.
Okay, fine, thank you. So, I would say there can be many use cases that we could bring into RWA tokenization. But I know there have been many activities going on in regards to RWA tokenization, for example, in the real estate and trade finance space. So I wouldn't delve into the real estate because we already have experts to shed light on that specific domain. But what I would like to do is that I'll be sharing more about the cross-border trade finance use case in regards to RWA tokenization. If you look at the use case of cross-border trade in regards to imports and exports, there are three important pillars that play an important role in the cross-border trade. First is the movement of the goods that is facilitated mainly by the exporter, importer, and the shipping lines. And there are many other stakeholders as well. And second is the movement of the money, which is facilitated by the banks and the financial institutions through letter of credit, documentary collection, or factoring, trade finance. There are more than 50 variants of trade finance. So it could be anything wherein the movement of the money could be facilitated by banks or the financial institutions. Third pillar is the documentation part. Without the documentation, neither the movement of the goods would happen, nor the movement of the money would happen. And I'll like to take an example of our company. So that's where we are playing a role of tokenizing the cross-border trade documents to digital format, and we are also adding legal admissibility to this digital tokenized documents. So in the previous question, wherein I think Mr. Erdem. He answered about the regulatory challenges, but in our case, we made sure that we can have the state-of-the-art technology, but we need to make sure that we are going hand in hand with the regulatory policies. In case we are we are planning to create a sustainable business. So what we have done is that there are certain regulatory guidelines provided by United Nations Commission of International Trade Law through Model Law on Electronic Transferable Record, and that guideline has outlined how exactly a reliable ecosystem could be created. So we have developed that. We already have executed certain pilots wherein the documents are represented as the real world assets. If we take an example of a specific document, a bill of lading. Bill of lading is a kind of title document that is issued by a shipping company to an exporter. A title document wherein the exporter will have all the rights to exercise and control against that specific cargo that is being moved from one country to another country. I had some issue here. In that case, what will be happening is that, like, in case the exporter can use that bill of lading to avail finance from the banks. So that tokenized bill of lading could be provided as a collateral to the bank, and the bank will be able to take the ownership of the bill of lading, and they can facilitate the trade finance facility to the exporter. And this way, everyone will be a winner in the ecosystem. Exporters will receive the trade financing in a faster manner. Banks will be able to increase their revenue velocity with enhanced liquidity. And in fact, the liquidity providers of the e-money network can also get exposure to good and alternative investment options in the trade finance asset class, and which will be regulated as well. Thank you.
That's a very interesting use case. I got to know about it for the first time. That's great. Zygis, over to you.
Yeah, I'll take over. Yeah, so we have these traditional approaches of real world assets, ticketing and etc. But GameFi is not that integrated with real world assets, and we're changing the game. Plus, we're doing a noble mission to save cats. And how we're going to integrate each chip of real cats in the shelter with virtual cats in our virtual cat shelter. And once person adopts a virtual cat, he also contributes to each cat in the shelter to actually contribute and save real cats in the shelter as a charity. And also, we're going to launch marketing campaigns. So, for example, if you own a virtual cat, which is connected with a real cat in the shelter, on successful adoption of real cat, you'll be given a plush toy, which represents your virtual cat and is linked with it. So we're going to introduce such opportunities for players to dig in and to feel real connection between virtual cat, which he plays with, and also real cat, which has a backstory, and also he's going to feel good about it. And also, most in-game marketplaces doesn't produce too much value actually to the player itself, and we're changing the game. We also want to create real-world assets alternative for each in-game marketplace item. So that's our goal, and we're trying to aim at it. Yeah, so that's it from our side.
That's a great thing to hear, especially for all the cat lovers out there. So amazing. Okay, now, listening to all these amazing use cases, now this is for all the speakers. If you want to share some innovative solutions that your project is currently implementing in the RWA ecosystem, like any of the things that you're currently working on, developing, or something that is already live. So if you want to share anything about it, please go ahead.
I can go on. Yeah, so basically, we are going to have each cat linked on our content management system by providing access to shelter staff to enter the data of each cat with a photo, description, and a backstory and funds we need. And once it will be created, it will be validated by us and released into virtual cat shelter for other people to adopt. And also, once it happens, we'll be going to also announce on our social channels that this person helped that cat to be treated and saved. And also, this kind of things, I believe, is the future for our real world assets ecosystems. As basically, it's not limited just to technical things. It's just as ticketing, also fractional ownership, liquidity, and etc. But also, this is a way to create a community which also helps both blockchain community and real world community to like join together and to be together. Yeah. Thanks.
That's super interesting. Any other speaker who would like to highlight any innovative solution that your project is
Yeah,
implementing?
yeah. Maybe I can explain a little bit more about some of the solutions that we're building. So one of the main problems that exists today in RWA and in real estate is data. So there's a lot of fragmentation when it comes to the data, especially in real estate. You have many different companies providing different valuations, different sources of truth. And so one of the key things that we wanted to focus on with our product development was creating smart contracts that include effective and transparent data within inside the metadata of the smart contract. So this way, whenever properties or projects are bought and sold, whenever they're listed on our platform, all of them have to input specific data requirements. This includes both non-variable and variable data. So things like the location of the property, the address, the size of the property, bedrooms, etc. But then you also have things like the valuation, the owners, transaction history. So now when you actually participate in projects, you actually are able to see who were the previous owners, how has the valuations fluctuated over time. You're able to get a lot more insights, which is something that has been very, let's say, fragmented, or there hasn't been a single source of truth, especially when it comes to purchasing and sale of properties or real estate markets in general. So that's one of the key things that we're trying to solve. And with that and all the data that we're collecting in the space, we're also able to leverage AI to help users make better decisions with the data that we provide them. So understanding trends of the market in real estate, whether we think that the trends are leading upwards or downwards, previous price action. And so all of this really helps when you have it transparent and on chain, because now you actually have a source of truth of the data, and you can easily go to one place to really understand both historical data and trying to make predictions on future trends. So that's a area that we're trying to innovate in.
Interesting. And I have a question for you. Hi, this is Parag. So based on this data, is there any like algorithm or something you're working to actually evaluate the the asset? Because now you can predict the growth, but the value is still bid and ask. And I know a lot of platforms. I mean, I used to be in US, and Zillow used to predict also the actual price I should be paying for a real estate asset. Like what have you, is there anything which you are working, or what is your learning in the industry regarding the data prediction, valuation of the assets?
Yeah, that's a great question. So on the data side, I think that there's a couple of companies, especially in the crypto space, that have really done well and innovated with solutions. So on that side, we're actually partnering with Parcel. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they've invested a lot of money into filtering data and bringing it under, let's say, open source APIs that other real estate projects can leverage. So I think they have something like 5,000 different data sources that they compile, and then they go through various filters of that data to make sure which ones are accurate or less accurate. Let's say they fall further away from the standard deviation. And so they go through vigorous processes. They also have things like they've done over like $3 billion in leverage trading market on real estate markets. So to start off with, we're leveraging their data because they've done it so well. And we can just plug in and essentially then cater that to our users and the questions they're asking. But long term, as we grow, we also want to look into developing our own systems, especially in cities that haven't been touched by them. Primarily, they're based in the US right now, whereas we are opening up in cities like Dubai, Madrid, and so forth. So these are going to be places that our data is going to be built up from scratch, let's say.
Interesting. And Parcel, this PARCL one, right? Parcel
Yeah,
Labs.
yeah,
Okay,
Parcel
got it.
Labs, exactly.
Got it. Thank you. It's interesting. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, this is Erdem. I would like to share some insights about what we built because I'm the odd one out here. I really want to make my voice heard. May I jump in?
Yes, please.
Okay, so we are defining a new category, and we have merged embedded finance with on-chain finance to define this new category. The philosophy behind is that real-world assets, RWA, is just the beginning. The next and the most important challenge is to offer real-world solutions and harvest real-world cash flows from the fiat land. There are 40, 50, 60 million crypto wallets, but there are 3.2 billion digital wallets on this planet. So why not attacking traditional finance on its own turf to deliver these solutions and making money, opening the doors they couldn't open? And luckily, we have found a great niche, great vertical, and a great solution to deliver these solutions to the 3.2 billion digital wallets. A question to all the listeners and the speakers. Do you guys know the golden rule of finance? It's a cheeky question. Don't answer. Let me tell you the answer right away. The golden rule of... Yeah, please, Parag.
Don't leverage at 20x.
I'm a forex liquidity guy. 500x is my thing. I'm totally with you. So the golden rule is very simple, and it's a cheeky rule. The one who owns the gold writes all the rules in finance. And up until the blockchain revolution, banks, traditional finance is holding the gold. They have the superpower, exclusive superpower of creating deposits. We stole it, guys, with stables. When they have the superpower of creating deposits, the capital accumulates in their hands. So they control the supply. And when they control the supply, when the capital is in their control, all fintech products on this planet need to end up in a bank's hand, meaning they harvest the value, no matter how innovative you are, how creative, how whatever superpowers you have, they harvest it. But this is changing because thanks to internet, today financial services are being served by the brands. Let's fill it in. Let's look into Apple. Brands with exclusive user networks are the new fintechs. Apple Pay. If you look into the numbers, Apple Pay is transacting more payment volumes than MasterCard. This is groundbreaking. But they didn't stop there. So they have now buy now, pay later. They divide your invoices into monthly chunks, basically, if you haven't heard about buy now, pay later. And they have rewards cards. They have savings accounts. In one night, in overnight, they collected $2.4 billion of deposits. This was the ultimate superpower for banks. So the game is changing. The golden rule changed. Brands become fintechs, but not that quick. Let's give a pause there. If you look into the main motivation here, these brands wants to derive more revenues from their users, this time by offering financial services, convenience products. But there's a huge problem because when you look into companies, brands working with fintech providers to offer these services, they end up losing 85% of the revenues created. Wait a moment. These revenues are harvested from my customers at my point of sale, but it went to Klarna, 55% in a BNPL. For simplicity, let's speak BNPL. And Klarna is the biggest service provider there. 55% goes to Klarna, and 35% goes to banks. You end up empty-handed. They captured the lion's share. This is not sustainable. This is odd. Somebody has to solve it, and we have a solution, guys. So we merged embedded finance with on-chain finance, and today our platform enables companies to automatically originate buy now, pay later loans, and then package those loans into bonds and tokenize the preferred portion of these bonds. T-bonds, we call them tokenized bonds, and then sell the bonds on-chain to private credit pools. In simple layman terms, your company originates a financial product, but it is instantly matched with liquidity. You don't carry any risk. You don't need to build a fintech team. You don't need to deal with 14 asset securitization service providers. Guys, this asset securitization is the bread and butter. It is the way, it is the channel that banks control the distribution this time. And it hasn't seen an innovation since 1980s. Cutting it short, you don't need a huge pile of capital and no more handing over that the revenues, 85% of the revenues you own to third parties. So we host, first time in the financial history, we are hosting a full end-to-end plug and play fintech infrastructure for companies. So everybody, let's finish with a cliche because, cliches is the bread and butter of these kind of things. A16Z famously said, every company will be a fintech company, but till today, nobody figured out how. We solved it. We have a recipe and we are applying it in a vertical where it is most needed. And furthermore, we dig in, we carved in a niche in this vertical. It's a $145 billion market. Traditional finance cannot tackle the problems there. We do. So I am encouraging everyone to look into the future. Real world assets is the beginning. The next challenge is to offer real world solutions, and it is doable, guys. These traditional giants are not motivated enough, not mature enough to get the speed up to your speed, guys. So the real world cash flows is the next big thing. This is what we do.
I agree 100%. And Bill Gates has written in his book when he was talking about the climate change, he says everyone, talks about doing the climate change, but one of the biggest thing which is needed for doing such disruptions in the real world is the patience capital. When we are talking about the bond, for example, right? When you tokenize it, the patience capital, when it becomes tradable in form of tokens and you create like amazing infrastructures like DEX, then the patience capital gets the liquidity. And I think with RWA, when we bring those RWA, the real world hard problems also will become like with tokenizing. And so completely agree what you are saying, and great what you are doing.
Marvelous point, Parag. Thanks for the contribution.
That's great. Innovation is undoubtedly the key. Okay, perfect. So the next question to you, Parag, as you mentioned, mainstream finance. What are your predictions for the future of RWA solutions and their integration into mainstream finance?
See, I think in the last we are talking about the T-bonds, talking about the real estate, bringing real estate. So I think one of the biggest disruptions, which I am already seeing it going through all the conferences, events, wine companies coming, and then basically that took, see what exactly, as you know, you just heard, right? Every company will be a fintech company. That is so true because when these product companies are doing startups are building products, and eventually everyone realizes that I have to build a fintech around my company, right? So this is the reality of the industry today, and has been the reality of the industry if you are in the industry whenever. But when you tokenize it, then essentially you are bringing a distributed liquidity. Now, in that distributed liquidity, there will be some people who are betting, someone is shorting, someone is doing futures, someone is just having fun, right? So, and people have their own logics, checking charts, and whatever. Everyone has their own thing, right? But the essential thing is liquidity. Now, when in the right now in even 2024, we are sitting on top of assets where the liquidities are not that much available in everything. For example, if you're going to, invest in a home, right? Of course, there are a lot of tokenizations happening in Web2, but there are a lot of hard regulations around that. But when you have that liquidity, you start seeing the impact very, very fast, right? So the crashes are happening very fast and the recovery is happening very, very fast. And at a certain stage, you see a lot of a long time of stabilized market because more and more liquidity is coming. So I think that is the real deal which RWA will bring in to the world. Like that is where the first hit will happen. The assets which did not have the distributed liquidity will have very, very small assets. Like imagine you have to buy an apartment complex and there is a market maker who is actually making sure that the spreads are low. I mean, of course, we all have, when we try to buy an apartment, there is a bid of $190,000. Someone is, let's say an example, someone is trying to buy a, studio at $190,000, but seller wants to sell at $220,000. But when you bring the liquidity in, the market maker starts playing around and make sure that that these transactions are more efficient, right? So tokenization itself is game changer. And all of us had imagined, back when everyone came to blockchain, we saw a lot of real estate sort of tokens coming and, now we are hearing the T-bonds narratives as well. That liquidity and minimization of the spreads creates very, very efficient markets. And we are going to see a lot of that. We are going to see, in the market, you have an apartment and you are trading the apartment. You have you are saving the cats. You're saving the cats on a liquidity where the spread is very slow. I mean, it's geniusness, right? What has happened? So I think that has to be the first biggest impact. And that is where we will see the first wave coming also. And I think even what we are doing, like in e-money, essentially what we are trying to do is I mean, we all know that the challenge has been the regulations, right? But if you actually take an initiative that, okay, I will build an L1 chain and I will build a wallet where that gap is now gone, right? That's what essentially we are doing. Then you have suddenly opened up the whole market to bring that liquidation, to start minimizing those spreads, then create the efficient markets in all these assets, which have been not tradable, like arts also, right? So I think that is where I am seeing the market movement to happen because whatever said and done, both the markets, even if we see in the stocks or in the blockchain, in the crypto world, they are both are like fintechs, right? So yeah.
Totally makes sense. Yeah. Okay, now that we're talking about, the future of RWA, Nicolas and Zygis, where do you envision your project in the next 5 years within the RWA ecosystem?
Okay, I'll go first then, I guess. First of all, just to touch on what Parag was saying, I couldn't agree more. And I think our project really plays into that idea of creating something that is not tokenized and pretty illiquid, or let's say moves fairly slow, and bringing all of that liquidity into one place and making it easily tradable. And so I think over the past couple of years, we saw the rise of like the mega players in the industry when it comes to exchanges, from centralized exchanges like Binance to dexes like Uniswap, where you can trade all types of project tokens, meme coins, etc. But what we really believe is that that same model will exist for RWA assets, and for us specifically, the ability to freely trade real estate assets. And I think that when you compare it, there's much more volume, there's much more investment in these industries, so it only makes sense for this type of solution to exist and to come to be. And I think after, approvals of ETFs, and people have finally, especially the older people, the big hedge funds, etc., have finally come to realize, okay, this isn't a Ponzi, this isn't a scam, this industry is here to stay, and regulations are coming, and they're great because they give guidance to projects, they give guidance to new startups, and they give trust to traditional investors who want to enter the industry. So, I mean, you've seen the CEO of BlackRock talk countless times now about RWA being the next step, and we're very much in line with that, and we want to position ourselves as the next Uniswap or the next Binance of real estate trading. And so that's how we see ourselves in the next 5 years.
Okay, I'll take over. Yeah, so in 5 years, we'll be hugely profitable, and I hope that we'll be supported by Elon Musk as well. And initially, each cat shelter will be given an individual wallet. And but our goal is to create a wallet for each cat in all of the shelters worldwide. It means that millions of wallets will be created and used globally. And you might ask how we'll be able to scale that fast. And the idea is that we want to allow users to participate and create their own NFT cats linked with real cats. And also, in the result, to create a catverse, and afterwards to introduce dogverse as well, as we want to onboard not just cats, but to save dogs as well, as its token entails. And to allow users to build games of their own on our ecosystem. As right now we're building architecture that will allow users to actually build on token tails, not just by ourselves, but we want to onboard users, create hackathons, events, and to grow exponentially. And we see like a huge success in the Catizen project, but like we're accelerating even faster compared to Catizen, and we believe in success, and we are doing everything what we can at this moment. We're working on partnerships, co-marketing campaigns. We just released one co-marketing campaign with Carbify, and we'll be going like to save some cats in the results. And yeah, also we have a meme contest, so feel free to take a look. Thanks.
Amazing. This is like music to the ears of cat and dog lovers.
Yeah.
Awesome. I think what you guys, all of you are doing, I'm sure, with all these innovative solutions, the next 5 years are going to be great for all of you. Okay, so the next question to Lingraj and Erdem, what advice would you give to developers and entrepreneurs looking to innovate in the RWA space? Like any advice for any developer, any entrepreneurs, or anyone who is, in the space?
Okay. I hope I'm audible to everyone.
Yes, you can clearly hear you.
Okay. So, we have been seeing great innovations in the RWA tokenization space. I would like to tell all the developers and the entrepreneurs like me is that never stop learning new technologies, keep on experimenting. But my 2 cents would be to always make sure that you are building your technology and business. It should be in line with the regulatory requirements. But we should not, or we should never stop innovating the new things, since there have been many initiatives by the governments wherein they are providing the regulatory sandboxes. You can try out your pilot use cases, like by bringing all the relevant stakeholders, show the kind of value that your innovation and the technology and the product that you are building is going to bring to all the stakeholders. In case it's good, it's bringing a very good value to all the stakeholders, then regulatory aspects will fall to your business line, and this way you will also make sure that you are creating a sustainable business in case you are taking your technology hand in hand with the regulatory aspects. Yeah, thank you.
I would like to be very straightforward with this one as well, because this saved our life. Go get them advisors on board quick and dirty. Real world assets, those assets have been around for ages. They're there. And most of the blockchain crypto entrepreneurs have limited experience in the traditional finance. So go get those gray-haired, little bit boring traditional finance advisors on board, quick and dirty. Because if you pick the ones that act as key contributors to your business, they will change your path, they will change your life. This is obviously the most important advice I can give to, especially to the young entrepreneurs.
Those are some most, I'm sure our listeners would be, noting them down right now. Thank you so much. Okay, before we open the floor to questions, for the questions to be asked by the listeners, just on a closing line, what final message or, any sort of key takeaways you would like our listeners or our audience to remember about your project or its impact to RWA? Like it's for all the speakers. So any, key takeaways you want to share with the audience?
I can start. I mean, if you are thinking of building any RWA project, there are so many hassles, regulations, compliances. We are solving that. So focus on the technology, focus on your market, and we will take care rest for you, because that's all we are doing. We are building the whole infrastructure to make sure you are onboarded seamlessly and do your own disruptions.
Maybe I can just chime in a little bit there. I just wanted to say thank you to eMoney Network for hosting the space, and I couldn't agree more with Parag. Solutions that eMoney Network are building are extremely helpful for startups building in the RWA space, because as we mentioned many times in this space, regulations are extremely difficult. They're extremely new, and to have eMoney Network and projects like them helping provide these solutions so that we don't have to worry about regulations too much is fantastic, and so happy to be here.
Okay, so I just would like to thank you very much, eMoney Network team, for inviting me to share my thoughts on real world assets. And it was really great to see the fellow developers and the speakers who have been doing exceptionally great work. And I'm sure that this discussion is going to be very helpful for me at least, and for my business. Thank you very much.
So I'll take over. So don't forget to take care of your virtual cat to save real cats in the shelter. And also, I want to mention that each cat has 9 lives. And if you forget to take care of your cat, you'll lose 1 life per day. But don't worry, we'll introduce cat sitters to take care of your cat, to allow players to earn tokens that each cat is generating. And don't forget to play our Telegram game each day, as we have weekly multipliers, so that if you will be in a certain position, your points will be doubled or even tripled if you're in top 10. Thanks.
I would like to reiterate what I've shared moments before. I think the key takeaway I would like the audience to remember is that whether it's cats or real estate, real world assets is the beginning to solve some to open some doors that traditional business models couldn't open. A blockchain is a feature set, and using that feature set as a problem solver and looking with that perspective to the people on the streets, the daily life they have, the problems they can solve up until now would bring the new unicorns, guys. And why not one of us become that unicorn? That's pretty much what I wanted to share.
Amazing. I'm so glad I got to host this session. This is one of the most interesting RWA sessions I've been to. Thank you so much. Now I would like to open the floor for our listeners to ask your questions. Okay, I can see 2 requests already. One is Eddie. Hi Eddie, can you hear us? Eddie, you'll have to unmute yourself to talk. Okay, in the meanwhile, I'll add one more speaker to ask the question. I've added you, Kira, so if you can hear me, you can ask your question. Okay, am I audible? Hello.
GM, E-Money, GM, AD, GM, Elevex, GM, tokenised, GM, Parag, GM, everyone.
Hello.
GM Kira, you can ask your question now.
Well, I really don't have any questions. I came all the way to support Elevex because I'm part of their support ambassador. I work for Elevex. So I came here to support Elevex and stay with them, stay by them. That is why I'm here, and I actually am enjoying this space. I'm loving what you guys are building. I'm loving what you're building, what you're trying to build for the community. I think I'm enjoying. I'm loving it, and I'm so happy to be on this space to learn one or two things from every one of you to see how you guys care so much about the community to make things easier. Thanks to every one of you. Thanks for giving me the chance to be able to talk on this wonderful and amazing space. I'll keep on supporting. Thanks to all of you. Thanks to everyone. I really appreciate you guys.
Thank you so much. I appreciate all the motivating and the kind words. Thank you so much. Eddie, are you able to talk now? Okay, I think there are still technical issues. Anyone else who would like to ask any question to any of us
I can
speakers?
see some of the questions in the comments, I think. Mystical Wonders. I have a question for Token Tales. What percentage of funds taken in go back out to help versus percentage of funds used to operate the project, including payroll? Thanks. So basically, they are asking like what percentage you keep and what percentage you give to cats. Token Tales, that question is for you.
Yeah, so we are giving away 50% of all revenue from a project from all the NFT sales and NFT cats sales. Plus also we'll be going to do fundraising so that each user will be able to donate directly to specific cat that we want. So on that way, 100% of cash will be given to specific cat. And in case of NFT purchase, 50%. Yeah, so it's transparent and everything will be on chain. Yeah, and we have like 40 months of runaway on our investments itself, and after that will be self-sustainable. And also, while 50% of our wall revenue goes to the cats, we are also like we're going to distribute around 25% to maintain also the economy of our game, and also another 20% to create a treasury to host events and initiatives, so like help cats even more with nurturing programs and medicine to cover the bills, electricity, and etc.
Awesome. Token Tales doing a really, really good work. And it takes a lot to build such projects, right? So, of course, you have to charge to make sure that first you are
Yeah,
always
yeah,
running, and then you are actually making a direct peer-to-peer transfer of saving cats open
yeah.
for anyone who wants to support. That's really, really amazing. Thank you for your answer.
Thanks.
Awesome. Okay, I can see no more questions or speaker requests. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Thank you to all the speakers. Before we end, if you would like to add any closing notes or anything you would like to end it with.
Just sincere thanks for this organization. Looking forward to the next one.
Yeah.
Awesome. We are looking forward as
I
well.
just want to mention to all the speakers that Token Tales is open for co-marketing campaigns, so feel free to reach us out. Thank you.
Amazing. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. And yes, you want to speak
No,
something?
I was just going to say thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate all of you, taking your time out. I'll see all our listeners on the second episode of the Real World Alpha Chats next Thursday. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thanks. See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye,
Thank you,
guys.
Imani.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Imani.